picked up a book, started reading, then days, weeks, even months have gone by without you finishing it? Well, you're not alone. Let's talk about how to change that. As someone with ADHD, I've struggled with reading for years, but over the years I have found strategies that have made it a little easier for me to get back into reading again, and I'd love to share them with you. For me personally, or other people that have ADHD, you may find it hard to sit still. You may lose interest very quick and get easily distracted, which will make reading such a daunting task. Alright guys, in this video we will explore practical tips and techniques to make reading enjoyable and manageable again, even for people with ADHD. So first we have to understand your motivation. You have to understand why you want to get back into reading, because your motivation will help you get through this journey. Your motivation will keep you determined to finish this book. So your motivation could be benefits of reading. It could be to gain knowledge, for mental stimulation, for relaxation, all different type of things. You figure out what that is. For me, it was knowledge. I had read a quote that said, by reading 10 to 15 minutes a day, you're going to be smarter than the average person, because the average person doesn't read. The average person doesn't read every day. So I was like, you know what? I could be a little smarter. And one thing I know is nobody could take your knowledge away from you. So that's why I wanted to get back into reading again. Also, it is important for you yourself to set personal yet realistic goals for yourself. Like, you want to learn something new. It's for entertainment. You want to improve your language, your knowledge of words. You want to add to your vocabulary. Whatever that may be, you must understand that that is your goal and you must stick to it. So with that being said, write somewhere down in your notes, what are your motivations for wanting to read again, and what are your realistic personal goals. Next, we have choosing the right books. Choosing the right books is key. It is essential when getting back into reading again, especially since it's been a long time. Over time, the books that we used to like, they might have changed. So I would suggest exploring new genres of books. But that is essential for your completion. Choosing the wrong book will be detrimental to you completing the book, or be adding to your failure, essentially. So with exploring new genres, one thing I will say is avoid an overwhelming choice. Avoid books that are complex and just like lengthy. Like, I know you might want to challenge yourself, but challenge yourself after the first challenge, which is finishing a book again. So I would just give you that advice. And I'll just give you a quick personal story of my own, that being, I am a person that absolutely loves personal development. So it's easy for me to just pick personal development as a genre that, I like. But what people don't realize is some personal developments can be quite challenging, and they can be quite complex. And when choosing a complex book, and make sure that that's something that you really want to do. Because with me, I chose a personal development book, that being I can't remember the particular book, but I will link it here. And that's not a beginner reader book. And not saying that it couldn't be done, but me having ADHD, that already puts me at a disadvantage. And then the book being a longer book, the book being challenging. I think I read the first chapter in a week, and then I never picked that book up again. To this day, I still haven't picked that book up. So one thing that I thought that I would do was, explore other genres. I always like to do nonfiction. So I was like, let me try some fiction books. So I've been delving into fiction books and trying new things out. And finding things that pique my interest, and it's made me more apt to want to read. Like, if it's difficult and I know it's going to be a little challenging, you're like, do what? Nah, I'm good. I'll come back another day. And then you'll be like another day, and then another day, and then another day, and then you never read. So I understand. So make sure you choose a book that you enjoy thoroughly. All right, so next we're going to be talking about creating a reading environment for yourself. And when finding the ideal location to read, it has to be a comfortable space, and it has to have minimal distractions. So, for example, here, come out into nature, come read in nature. Like, the importance of setting a quiet environment will reduce interruptions. So, this place has good lighting. It's very open. It's very freeing. I feel comfortable here to read. This is my personal space. I also have a book nook at my house where it's just a reading library for us, and we have like a little comfy, cozy chair with great lighting above us so that we can read. One thing I will say to avoid, unless you're good with this, do not sit in bed and read your book unless that's something that you enjoy. But you will, probably 9 times out of 10, you will fall asleep. Like, you just will. Like, it's just something about it. You're like, the words is just a lullaby that help you drift off into sleep. That's what ends up happening, to be honest. But make sure you choose the right space to read. One thing I will say that is ideal to do is to set a routine for yourself. Just carve out a chunk of time, a specific time each day that you want to read. It doesn't have to be each day. It could be every other day. It could be every 3 days. That's for you to figure out. For me personally, I have ADHD, so my focus is limited. So for me, I just started with 5 minutes of reading. Went from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. From 10 minutes to, let's read a whole chapter. So that's where I started, and I told myself that I wanted to do this daily. So I set reminders on my phone that told me to read at specific times a day, each day, for a limited amount of time. And once I was able to complete that, then I was able to move on to the next milestone and the next milestone, which is a chapter, 2 chapters, 3 chapters at a time, whatever you get comfortable with. But it has to be a routine. Also, one thing that helped me get back into reading was we often just take our phones to the bathroom and scroll mindlessly while we're on the toilet or whatever. But one thing that changed the game for me was, instead of taking my phone to the bathroom, I started taking a book to the bathroom. So I have no other choice but to read. So whether it be 2-3 pages, it is important to create a reading habit and to set a realistic goal for yourself. Also, tracking your progress will be a great way for you to be consistent with reading. And you can do so by getting a journal and writing that you read every day. Or what I would do is I like to write summaries of what I read. So every time I read, I just write a summary of what I read, so that will track that I've actually understood what I was reading as well as read. All right, so now let's discuss staying motivated and some of the ways that you can stay motivated and make sure that you follow through with your goal. Excuse this plane for being rude as fuck. Bro, I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I literally just found out like maybe a year ago that planes fly up to 1,000, from 700 to 1,000 miles an hour. It's crazy. I went about like 26 years not knowing that. I really thought the max that they went was like 300-400 miles an hour, but that makes sense now. We see a hella plane. I definitely need to keep reading because I'm over here making up my own words and shit. But you see a plane and then you hear it after you see it, and that makes sense. That fucked me up crazy. Anyways, a way that you can stay motivated is by joining a book club or reading groups. People that have like mind and like motivations that want to continue reading. Having a accountability partner or people will definitely keep you on track if you feel like you cannot do this on your own. Also, by sharing what you've read with others. Like I said, one of the reasons why I started to get into reading was because I wanted to expand my knowledge. So me expanding my knowledge allows me to share it with others and help expand their knowledge. So I share with my friends, I share with my family. Hell, I even share with strangers sometimes if I'm on, in public, and it just comes up in conversation. But sharing with others, also sharing on social media. Others might be interested in what you're reading, and they might even be inspired that you're reading, and they might like that you're doing this. So you never know. But these are things that will help you stay motivated, and you'll have accountability for your reading. I've also seen people do like reward systems where, like, I don't know, they'll reward themselves for achieving their goal. Me personally, I don't really care for reward systems. I don't really need a reward system. My reward is gaining the knowledge, and my reward is at the end of the book, completing the book. So yeah, that's my personal reward. All right, y'all, I'm going to just keep it a buck with you guys and basically tell y'all my reading journey and my reading history. Ever since I was younger, reading was always challenging for me. And it's not that I didn't like reading. I actually wanted to read, but for some reason I just wouldn't stay focused. And, later in life, I found out I have ADHD, and that contributes to why I didn't want to read, or didn't have the motivation to read, or just lost interest quickly. So, I'm going to be quite honest with you, and it's a little sad, but personally, I haven't completed a book in about 10, 11 years. And that even goes for textbooks. I've gone to college, I've done this, professors be like, read books. I was a Spark Notes type of bitch. That was not my thing. Reading wasn't my thing. I even went to a reading class when I was younger, and they basically taught you skills to help you better your reading. And they did teach me a skill, which was like reading with my fingers, and that helped out a ton. And finding out that I have ADHD now makes me understand why it was easier for me to read like that, because that is a form of bionic reading. So that helped me follow what I was reading. See, when people that have ADHD try to read, what happens is the words go all over the page, and that's what was happening with me. Next, we're going to move on to embracing different formats. So for me, I will say that there are audio books which make it convenient for you to listen while multitasking, so you can finish a book. Also, there are ebooks and there are physical books. There are both pros and cons to each. An ebook is easily to take around. You can have it on your phone. But if your phone or your tablet is dead, then you don't have a book. So the physical book is also always good. I know some people like to highlight and some people like to make notes. So the physical book would be great for that, as well as the ebook, because on the ebook they do have options that allow you to make note in whatever sentence that you're in. But I will highly recommend, if you struggle with physical books, please do try different formats, because they will contribute to your success in completing your book. So here's just an extra tip for my ADHD boys and girlies. So some of the strategies that I use, I'm going to be looking off my tablet because these are things that I've written on my tablet a long time ago. So one of the things is chunking. Chunking is important when you're dealing with ADHD because it allows you to break down your reading into manageable chunks. So you'll break it into small sections, like you'll read a few pages and then you'll take a short break, and then you'll read a few more pages and then you'll take another short break. So that'll just, make it a little bit easier with dealing with focus. So another strategy is multi-sensory approaches. So that is basically combining reading with listening to audio versions of a book. So, when you get a little fatigued with actually reading the physical book, just throw in an audio book and start from the place where you left off. And then when you get tired of that, you go back to reading. Just find what works out for you. but the multi-sensory approach can make it easier to stay focused over time. All right, beautiful people. We have covered a lot today, from understanding your motivations to choosing the right books to choosing the right space, as well as having a reading routine. But I want you guys to remember, finding what works for you is key. All right, beautiful people. What's your favorite book and what's your favorite reading tip? Share it in the comments below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video if you've enjoyed it.